We have been volunteering with Casino Road Ministries and Homework Club for probably going on 5 years or so.
Yeah, I can't keep track of years, but I think about 5 years. I was motivated to get into Homework Club, get involved, because at the time there was very few volunteers. It was in a mode where it was trying to get bigger, and I've always had somewhat of a heart for kids, but as I've been involved, it's grown and grown and grown. So it was just one of those things like, I got a little bit of time on my hands, let's see what this is about.
I started volunteering with Homework Club because, I felt that there was a need simply because the number of kids that were there and the limited leaders that were there. So I guess really just at the end of the day, when you think about it, it's like, why couldn't I go and hang out with some kids? And really, for the most part, that's what it was, is we were there to kind of hang out and be with the kids. So
when I first volunteered, really the only things that we did was just help the kids with homework and then watch them run around and try to keep them from killing each other, basically. So it wasn't a whole lot of heavy structure. It was just either they have homework or they don't, and hang out with them.
Well, there were a lot more kids in the homework club than there were when we were at the apartment complex. We do more crafts and eat together now, and there's different sections for like kids. Like there's the older kids and the younger kids, and there's a lot more space for you to like do homework or crafts.
I feel that it's evolved in the way that it's become part of, I guess, their whole family structure, these kids, in that in the beginning, the parents would drop the kids off and leave and come back and pick them up. And now a lot of the parents actually volunteer, they stay, they're very involved. Several of the families, they really don't even speak English, so they just help wherever they can, and even offering language classes for these parents now to teach English and have them teach Spanish. It's a huge
it's evolved even into club for parents as well, so I think it's helped families out a lot with being involved with their kids and whatever things are offered at the clubs. Some of these kids come to these clubs every day of the week because it's more enjoyable for them than their own regular home life or whatever. It's something for them to do, and it's a good thing for them. Well, Dwayne was a joyful, rowdy kind of kid. He enjoyed being around the leaders, and he enjoyed being around the other kids, and at the same time he enjoyed look what I can do, and getting some attention and things like that. And me and him kind of clicked, and it was kind of easy to talk to him about things.
What drew Dwayne to us even the most was several years ago when he was in, I believe, 6th grade. He was in band, and they were doing the Macy's Day Parade, and so we had noticed him in the parade playing his trumpet at the time, and Will said, "Oh, there's Dwayne," so he's like doing what you're not supposed to do, Dwayne, and Dwayne's so focused and doing what he's supposed to do, and so Will, ran the length of the parade to make sure, Dwayne saw him, and I think that kind of clicked in Dwayne too. Wow, these people, they care.
And we actually, in that same parade, saw a couple other kids from Homework Club in that parade as well, and they actually looked at us, which they're not supposed to do. So that was a big no-no. But I didn't want to get them in trouble, but I wanted them to know I was there. Like, hey, I know you. So, so yeah, but that's kind of how it all started with Dwayne, at least. These kids have an opportunity sometimes to go to a Bible camp in the summer, and I was a counselor, and I was not even his counselor at that camp. I had a bunch of kids that only a couple of them were even from our church. Most of the kids I had were from other churches, and but Dwayne still gravitated in worship and throughout the camp, and even at dinner times, and he loved his counselor. You can't not love Johnny Tsunami, I didn't have a cool name like that, so, but at the same time, he still gravitated. When we found out that Dwayne was taken away into foster care from his family, and that put him in a position where he couldn't come to the clubs anymore, so we weren't going to be able to see him anymore, so it made us sad, because we knew that, obviously his family life was not going well for him or his siblings, and that part of his life that was important to him was coming to this club each Wednesday, and it was something that made him feel good about himself and feel good about life, and keep that joyfulness about him. And so it was very heartbreaking to know that he wasn't going to be able to have that in his life anymore, and have the positive attention that he needed, and just even maybe just that break from reality for even if it's only one night a week.
Well, and when we had found out too that Dwayne was going into foster care, Will had actually, because they had, they were working together, I mean, really every week, as those two together, and Will had actually talked to one of the directors or the main coordinators of the Wednesday night homework club, and actually went up to him and said, what can I do? I feel like there's, I still want to hang out with this kid, I still want to know this kid. And so he had gotten all of Will's information, and Will had to do a background check and do some information so that Will could be they could do a mentorship program of some sort. But unfortunately it didn't work at the time, simply because Dwayne was located pretty distant from his home area. So it didn't work, but we kept asking questions and kept trying to figure out where he was in his life. So there was one morning when we received a phone call letting us know that Dwayne, who had been in foster care for I think almost a year and a half at that time, we had a phone call saying, Dwayne is his mom is terminating her parental rights, and he needs to go into an adoptive home. And what do you think about it?
When I found out that she was going to let me be with some other family, I just thought that she didn't care about me anymore.
So I immediately, I'm almost like, okay, sure, it was almost just instant, absolutely, bring him to our house, we want him. But then it was like, oh, wait, I need to talk to my husband, so I'll get back to you. So I had actually, I believe I called Will at work, and I couldn't even speak. It was just tears and tears. I'm just like, oh my gosh, we can do this. And he said, well, okay, well, we'll talk about it as a family tonight, And when he got home, it was like...
Actually, that's not what happened. I said, let's do it. And she said, well, let's talk about this when we get home in further detail. But it was an immediate for both of us. Like, there was no question about it that if we could provide a home for any child that needed it.
The day that I found out that they were going to adopt me and everything, I felt happy, and because I knew them and they were old friends. I've been with Nikina and Will since before July of last year. I feel like they're my family, and I love them.
Number one, my recommendation would be, and I've told friends, you should come and check us out, check out what this club and what this ministry is about. It's a big picture, it's not just a club that meets once a week. It's something that is, every day in the lives of these kids.
As far as, kids in need, we haven't put a cap on how many kids we could help out. There's always different situations and different ways that you can help these kids out, though, too. But as far as giving kids a home, we haven't put a cap on it, but, you can only handle what you can handle. And I think anybody with a family knows that. So, and I would encourage people, though, who do have a heart for children to come to club, check it out, obviously see if you gravitate towards these children, and who knows in the future if something is not going right for that child or their family, you may be able to be the ones that help them out.
When I get older, I want to go around to foster homes and camps where foster kids stay, and speak to them.